The bathroom door was solid wood with a good lock, but it wouldn't hold forever. I could hear them searching, calling my name, promising they just wanted to talk. Police are 3 minutes out, Theodora called through the door. Hold on, the doorknob rattled, then harder pounding. They'd found me. Come out, girl. Don't make this harder. Your family misses you. I pressed myself against the far wall, looking for anything to defend myself with. A can of hairspray, scissors in the drawer, not much against grown men. The door frame began to splinter. One more hit and they'd be through. Then sirens. Beautiful, blessed sirens screaming down our street. The pounding stopped. Footsteps running, doors slamming. By the time police entered, the men were gone, leaving only broken glass and muddy footprints. We need to move you tonight, Margaret said, arriving within the hour. This placement is compromised. As I packed my few belongings, I thought about Anya's warning, about the address she'd given me, about all the girls still trapped, still believing they had no choice. I want to do something first, I told Theodora. Before we go, I need to make a call. I dialed Ms. Rodriguez's number. Remember those pamphlets? I think it's time we made more. A lot more. Because they could move me, threaten me, hunt me, but they couldn't silence the knowledge I'd spread. Every girl who learned her rights was a victory they couldn't undo. The war for my freedom wasn't over. But as we drove away from Theodora's compromised safe house toward another placement, I carried with me something more powerful than fear. The certainty that I'd already won the battle that mattered most. I'd proven it was possible to say no, to choose differently, to survive their rejection and build a new life. And that message, that hope, would spread to other girls whether my family wanted it to or not. The new safe house was 40 miles away, a small apartment above a retired police officer's garage. Margaret explained he'd done this before, housing girls whose families wouldn't stop hunting them. The security was even tighter than Theodora's. Motion sensors, cameras, panic buttons in every room. I spent the first night staring at the address Anya had given me, a house number in a neighborhood I recognized, where another cluster of our community lived. More girls who needed to know their options. Ms. Rodriguez visited the next morning with boxes of supplies. We decided to create information packets, not just pamphlets, but detailed guides hidden inside school notebooks, phone numbers written as math problems, legal information disguised as history homework. We'll distribute them through the school nurses, she explained. They're mandatory reporters and can identify at-risk students. While we worked, Patricia called with updates. The men who'd broken into Theodora's house had been identified through fingerprints, distant cousins from my father's side. Warrants were issued, but they'd already fled the state. Your family's also filed an appeal on the protective order, she added. They're claiming religious discrimination. The packets took 3 days to prepare. Each one contained a hidden pocket with emergency numbers, legal rights information, and step-by-step escape plans. We made 50, knowing most would be thrown away by suspicious parents. But if even one reached a girl who needed it. Thursday brought a new development. A social worker arrived with a teenage girl, her eyes wide with fear. She was from a different family in our community, but her story was familiar. Promised to a 47-year-old man. Her period had come last week. I found your notebook, she whispered to me, hidden in my cousin's room. The one with the math problems that were really phone numbers. My heart soared. The information was already spreading beyond my reach. Margaret arranged for her emergency placement while I sat with her, explaining what would happen next. The fear in her eyes slowly shifted to determination as she realized she had options. That night, my new phone rang with an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Don't hang up, a young voice said quickly. I'm calling from a friend's phone. We're 6 girls. We found your information. We need help. I grabbed a pen, writing down everything as she spoke in rushed whispers. 6 girls, ages 12 to 16. 3 already promised to older men. They met in secret, sharing the notebook pages they'd found. Can you get to teachers? Counselors? I asked. We're trying, but our parents watch us constantly now. After what you did, they're all scared. I gave her specific phrases to use, teachers' names at different schools who would respond, made her repeat the emergency numbers back to me, told her about the security cameras at the courthouse, how to file emergency orders. What if they catch us? She asked, voice trembling. Then you try again, I said firmly, and again, until you're free. Friday morning, Patricia called with urgent news. Your father's lawyer filed an emergency motion. They're claiming you're recruiting minors into dangerous situations. They want criminal charges filed for teaching girls their legal rights. They're calling it corruption of minors, interference with parental rights. It won't stick, but it's meant to scare you into silence. But I was done being scared into silence. That afternoon, I met with a journalist Ms. Rodriguez knew, someone who specialized in human rights stories. She'd agreed to write about the underground network of girls sharing information, protecting their identities while exposing the practice. No photos, no real names, she promised, but people need to know this is happening here, in America. The article wouldn't run for weeks, but just knowing it would exist felt like victory. Saturday's mail brought a surprise, a package with no return address, postmarked from another state. Inside were photos and a letter in shaky handwriting. The photos showed a young woman in nursing scrubs, smiling at a graduation ceremony. The letter was from Fatima. I wanted you to see what's possible, she wrote. 5 years of hiding, but I built a life, became a nurse, found love with someone who sees my worth beyond being someone's property. Stay strong. I cried holding those photos, seeing proof that survival could lead to more than just survival. Sunday was quiet until evening.